All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trade. Today is Monday, April 11th, 2022. If you're not done so already, please like, comment, subscribe, etc. Come find me on Twitter. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, market's continuing to pull back here as we have a low liquidity kind of gap down here on our hands. Spiders down 1.5%, triple Q's down just over 2%, and Dow down 1%. Russell really only down about 25 basis points or so at this point. So Russell is holding up pretty well. And to me, this does look like we just have a little bit more of backing and filling on our hands right here. And they're probably trying to paint a negative tape here as we kick off Opex week. A couple of reasons for this is, as I just said, the IWM is, basically flattish to negative. We have about 20 minutes left in the day, so who knows, maybe if they save this a little bit, there's a chance the Russell could actually turn green. It's not that far away. So the Russell holding up really well, small caps holding up well is obviously a bullish indicator. Another indicator is you take a look here at the VIX. We have not taken out Wednesday's high from last week. And, even with this recent surge up, it's not taking out the highs, and it's really not even close. I mean, you're still quite a ways away. So we're not really seeing any sort of panic selling or any sort of, meaningful dumping. And then the last reason is, just take a look at the volume here. So again, about 15-20 minutes left in the trading day, and we're just shy of 64 million shares. We'll probably surge another 10 million or so by the end of the trading day, but still, that's not at all what you would call heavy volume. In fact, average is about 107 right now, so we're about 35 million shares shy of average trading volume. And for the market to gap down 1.6% now, the spiders are down. It's usually when you see something like that, and if there's real selling pressure behind it, you're going to have a heavy volume. Institutions dumping on market and basically saying we want to get the heck out. But we're not really seeing that today, even as the markets dip down a little bit here. Overall, so spiders, trying to they're trying to push it through that 50-day moving average. You do have this pivot right in here, so that should be support as well. If you get through that, you got a bit of a level at 438. And then a more major level here at 432. I don't know if we get down there. I actually don't think we get down there this week at all. Triple Qs here. So again, dipping down as well. This will have very good support around 340 or 338 in that area. So watch that tomorrow if we do get there. Diamond here, not making a new low, but again, blue chip stocks, recession stocks are going to do better with rates pushing up high like they have been. And IWM, again, we can see here, just down 45 basis points right now. So actually holding up okay. And, it looks like it tried to fill this gap here. Let's see, 195, 70. So it got close. Maybe it fills it tomorrow if we, dip down there. But Russell holding up okay, and that's really nothing wrong when you see that. So again, that kind of leads me to believe that this is just some tape painting going on into to kick off Opex week. Remember, this is also a shortened trading week because we do have the holiday on Friday. Semiconductors here was coming off the lows here nicely, but starting to dip down as everything gets pushed here. But let's take a look. I want to show you. So NVIDIA has basically retraced this entire move from the Fed day. So this should be into a support zone. But more importantly, let's take a look at AMD here. Printing a little bit of a tail candle here, and I showed this last week, but look at this trend line here going back to 2020, really April of 2020, so 3 years ago. We're into that now, and you also have that 100-week moving average and a previous all-time high in a breakout area. So AMD into some major support here. We'll see if that can give the semis a lift, if it can bid off of that, especially if it comes off the lows today in the last 15 minutes, that you could potentially have a bit of a tail candle there on your hands. So that will be, obviously, as AMD is a leading semiconductor, that is a good sign for the sector. Anyways, IGV holding up really well. This is actually very impressive. Take a look at Unity, flattish to green on the day. Snowflake is green on the day. Zoom is only flat to negative at this point. Really, Microsoft is kind of the reason why IGV is down. That makes up a big weighting there. But look at Google here, into a trend line as well. So Google potentially, maybe into a pivot area. It is a little oversold going into that. Not that this has to do anything to do with cloud software, but IGV, on the other hand, you're into kind of the support zone. This is, where you put in those pivots. So, and it's getting a bit off that, and it's coming off the lows nicely. Even as the market starts to, sell off a little bit here, IGV is holding up really well. So that is interesting to see cloud kind of leading the market here. We'll see if that means anything tomorrow. Anyways, Dow Transports, I make a case that this is a bit of a dead cat bounce, right? So you're coming down and going sideways, but Dow Transport's still green in a down market. So that's not a terrible sign here. And it's showing that, the transports were, as I was saying, really oversold and due for a bounce here. But, if this market can get any kind of lift, these should get a pretty good bid, at least up to 15, 15.5, somewhere in that range. But transport's holding up well here in a down market. Let's look at yields. So 10-year Treasury yield 2.78 here. So making new highs. Yields are really strong right now, but they are getting really long in the tooth. This trade is getting very crowded. That is the short bond trade. Let's take a look at TYX. That did hit my target. I've been giving that to you guys for months now. 2.8 on the 30-year, and we got there today. Got through that at 2.835, I believe, was the high of the day. So 30-year hitting my longer term target here. And, now it's getting into resistance. Doesn't mean it can't push up a little bit higher. Oftentimes you can overshoot a little bit. I could definitely see it getting up to 3% potentially. But, the short bond trade is starting to get really crowded here in the near term. And, overall, they're starting to go parabolic, really, essentially, is what's happening. But obviously, these things can remain overbought for a little bit longer than you think, but they are due for some type of a pullback or correction. Anyways, high yield debt. So gapping near double bottom here and flushing down to the lows here. We'll see what they do with this tomorrow. It is a Monday of an Opex week, so it wouldn't surprise me if this was a trap here. And then we'll see what it does tomorrow. But obviously getting through that low, never a good sign there. Moving forward, we'll see where it closes out the end of the week. As far as fins are concerned, XLF, holding up okay, down 33 basis points here on the XLF. Take a look at JP Morgan. Was green for quite a bit of the day, basically flat now. Morgan Stanley was green, just turned negative, and Goldman also negative. But guess what? It got up to that 329 was the high of the day, 328.90, and that was kind of where I said it was going to go. We put in this tail candle. I said about 330 or so should be good for at least a move there. And, it basically got there. It still could even get higher and go up and test that 20 moving average if fins could hold up a little bit. But nice little move there for Goldman. And financials are holding up okay today with the yields pushing higher. XHB also holding up okay. So this is green, ITB and XHB. We noted this on Friday with yields higher, with yields green, and basically gapping up every single day. ITB and XHB green Friday and today. So, maybe they're telling us a little bit of something that yields are due for a pullback. Why would you be putting money into home builders if yields are, if you're expecting yields to rip higher? So that is, a possible little divergence to keep an eye on there. VNQ did roll over a little bit, nothing terrible. It's still holding this green bar. But, if this does dip, you got all these moving averages down here. Now that they're, most of them are minor. You got a gap, and then you got this pivot. So it should have some good support if it does roll over a little bit. But again, home builders holding up, which, does send my antenna up a little bit, I'll say. Anyways, energy here. So crude dipping down. It's holding double bottom for the moment. You did make a lower low, but it is holding double bottom. This does look like it wants to go down and test 90 and then eventually 85. I think that's just inevitable at this point. I think crude just needs to correct. It just got way overbought way too quickly. XLE red as well, gapped down and now losing Friday's low. Chevron, Conoco, Exxon, all negative today, but nothing terrible here. Again, we talked about this on Friday. These stocks are really overbought going into Opex. It's possible that they could get hit, and that is typical type of Opex action. Take a look at the OIH here, red, but also an inside day, so nothing terrible. But XOP noticeably drew this in over the weekend, so there is a potential rising wedge here on the XOP. So definitely keep that on your radar. If that breaks down, it could cause a correction there in that. Nat gas remains strong, pushing higher here today, up 6%. Right, what can you say about nat gas? It's really strong, but also getting very long in the tooth, just like yields. And I would assume that if yields pull back, this will pull back as well as many other commodities. But, give nat gas benefit of the doubt. It is very overbought, though. Dollar index green, but just ultimately an inside day, still inside of Friday's candle. Won't make too much out of today's action. Gold tried to push up higher today, but ultimately closed back below this red bar high, or is about to close below this red bar high. GDX did gap higher and made a new high. This is actually getting very overbought now, at least on, it's almost putting in a rising wedge as well. If you just discount this tail, you could make a case that you've got kind of these higher lows here and the higher highs kind of coming in, right? So you could make a case there is some type of a rising wedge-ish pattern there on GDX. I do think it's pretty overbought here in the near term. Silver also tried to break out, but now closing back below this kind of trend line that I've got drawn in, or getting very close to that. So that's probably not ready to get out there just yet. SILJ gapping up just like GDX, but then getting back into the red here as we are getting close to the end of the day. Keep an eye on this, though. You could make a case you've got a wedge here as well, but this one would be more of a symmetrical wedge here on the SILJ. So if you put in higher lows here, this could coil up and push higher eventually. So keep that on your radar. Again, I still like this pattern here on SILJ moving forward. I just think it needs to do a little bit more consolidation. And as far as platinum and palladium are concerned, nothing really going on there today. Tried to push higher and found some resistance in this zone. Nothing really to do with these names right now. Copper did roll over a little bit, but it's trying to hold this 463 area. So we'll see what it does tomorrow, if it can hold up there. All right, flipping back over to the coins now. Here we go. So Ethereum coming down into this level here. And, getting right into that 3,000 handle, that's where you broke out of. So it should have support. You also have the 50 moving average right there, but nice little beautiful bear flag there. Inside bar 1 2 3 4 breakdown. Love that little technical pattern, but it is into support. Is into support here, and then Bitcoin now into this wedge, the lower trend line of this wedge. So we'll see if that can get a bid tomorrow, but is pushing down here to kick off Opex week. So we'll see what we get. If it breaks through this and really pushes lower, this would be a pretty big concern here moving forward. But for right now, we'll see what we get tomorrow. Again, it is Opex week, and there's very typical to see game playing like this in the first day of the week. I'm always skeptical of that first move of an Opex week. Anyways, let's wrap it up here. We got about 7 minutes left here, and spiders are dipping lower here, now down 1.75%. So a pretty good sell-off here. But overall, again, this looks like they're just trying to get people to barf up their shares, honestly. We're just under 70 million shares traded, and there's about 6-7 minutes left in the day. So definitely not purposeful dumping going on here. But again, we'll see what we get tomorrow. Doesn't mean we can't make test a little bit lower. Again, I said there's support at 340, just below 340 on the triple Qs. So if we get down there tomorrow, it could be an area that gets tested. So we'll keep that on the radar. But overall, we'll see what we get tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see what we get for the end of the week for Opex. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow, rather.